Hello, friends. How are you? Welcome back. This is Talks on the Issues. This is a program from the American U.S. Embassy in La Paz, Bolivia. So, we are doing the second part of Can Technology Help Mitigate the Impact of COVID 19? And we are just delighted to have Leslie Sena with us, an alumni of the U.S. Embassy, somebody well known to us. So, and I think well known to all of you now. So we are just going to welcome Leslie Sena to give us the second part of her presentation, and look forward to it. Leslie, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Diego. I'm super happy to be here. Thanks for having me. This is a really nice opportunity we have. So to practice English, so to talk about different issues, talk about one of my favorite topics, which is technology, and talk about what's happening in the world right now, which is the COVID, this virus that keep us everyone at home. So I want to start. I want to start talking a little bit about next time we were chatting about how technology can help mitigate what is COVID-19, and actually we gave a sort of two answers. Yes, in the first part because this is helping. Technology is helping digitalizing all the information and having numbers, accurate numbers on real time and so on. But also another answer would be maybe because beyond the technological solution, we already have these other actors that are in play, such as legal, such as the other doctors and opinions and validations and so many things going on. But today I want to talk a bit more about the tech side on all these messy times, not only that is affecting what is the healthcare system, but also what is affecting in every sense. Mainly, I would like to talk a little bit about technology approach solutions for the healthcare system as well, but also for education, for finances, which implies work. Let's talk a little bit about jobs. Maybe everyone now is trying to work from home, and you basically need internet connection, a computer, and believe it or not, our reality in South America, in Bolivia, is not many people has this connection to internet. I just got message from friends in different places in Bolivia. They don't have Wi-Fi connection, or they're just using the data on their phone and trying to complete some work, to complete some homework, and so on. But we can see here the opportunity to break these distance barriers. Instead of going to work and going there to do some specific task or job, you can start doing it from home. We have these small issues maybe with connectivity and equipment, but ideally we will enter to a new era where we are working mostly remotely. And I don't know if you have heard before, there are so many sources and marketplaces where you can find sort of remote work. I myself have experienced that mainly last year, where I got contracts online and I was doing some data analysis and doing some translations and a bit of coding, and everything was remote. I just need my computer, I just need internet connection. I could be traveling around and just working from my computer. So I think this is a good opportunity for everybody to get a little bit closer to technology, to digitalizations, to learn about basic skills on design and data analysis, maybe coding, web design, and this sort of jobs that are emerging since they don't really need you to be in the place and you need just this sort of technology. But also, let's talk a little bit about education and how technology can help us to approach this lack of schools open, universities open. It's really interesting how lately Google mainly, I'll talk a bit more about Google technologies. Google has opened this, I just want to share this info on my screen. Yes, there we go. Let me see. Yes, this one. So I just want to share this one, which is in Spanish. Also, it's about teach from home.google, and you can actually find a lot of interesting information if you are a professor or teacher yourself, even if you are a student, how to find the best ways to get connected with your professors and classrooms and so on. It's really interesting that most of this has currently been open to everyone because everyone is at home now. So it's really interesting to see the different approaches, such as video calls, questions directly from your classes, how you can broadcast your class, like the way we are doing right now, in the sense that I'm home and I'm doing my stuff, but currently I just get connected and talk to everyone, and I can share knowledge, and I can follow up my students, and I can receive their homeworks, and we can still handle this sort of communication and connection, which is really important through these times. Because although everything is closed and stopped, schools should not close, education, learning should not be closed, and there are many platforms online where you can learn different skills regarding to the jobs before, and also you can keep connected to your classroom. So this is really cool. I personally have used before what is a Google Classroom, which is really nice. Just get connected with all your students, send out homeworks, receive the homeworks they are doing. And it's a challenge itself for professors, for students, because it's another way of working and methodology. And you have to be very like disciplined and committed to your work and what you're doing there. But it's really interesting. And if you see it so far, that's what is happening in the whole world. So if you develop this sort of skills, it will be like very easy just to keep moving. Also, talking now a little bit about Google and talking about this technology that is very focused on the COVID-19. I don't know, have you seen before this one, which is a community mobility report? You can say how this is working, how this is happening. Well, actually, Google, I think most of us have a Google account connection. We use Google Maps, and we are sort of always leaving some traces. So to report some interesting stuff, such as here. And if you go to this website, google.com COVID-19 mobility, you will can find different countries, such as this one, for example, Bolivia. And this report is till April 11, sorry. And we have the mobility changes, and we can see specifically in these fields like retail and recreation, grocery and pharmacy, parks, and transit stations, workplaces, residentials. And we can see how mobility, like moving around, has been like decreasing through these confinement times, and how the stay home campaigns have been sort of working, because we can see like people are reminding in one place that hopefully should be like home. So it's very interesting to see how these have been changing, and how this data has been collected, and how technology is helping to understand what's happening in these COVID-19 times, in the sense of mobility, in the sense of knowledge and education, as I mentioned before. Also, talk a bit more about Google. It was released just a few days ago with more updates, if I'm not wrong. On Google Cloud, which are services on cloud, like storing information, and also doing some calculations processing on cloud, which is another sort of technology. And personally, I have met before people that have worked with Google Cloud technologies, and is related to the healthcare system, to the healthcare field, so to say. For example, a friend and fellow of mine on this Google sort of sponsorships. He has this network in Brazil, and he's doing some sort of telemedicine, or diagnosis with another doctor, and they have built the infrastructure and connections on Google Cloud, which has been really cool, because they are connecting people from the Amazonas that they cannot go to a doctor personally, but they can go to a place nearby home, and they have a computer, and they have the doctor on the other side of the computer, and they can, talk about like what's happening on their body, and they can also send out their exams and they what they need. And it's really interesting because they concentrate information in one place. They have doctors helping, they have machine learning helping, which is technology related to artificial intelligence. And the sense of this sort of network is not really like replacing doctors nor people that's helping healthcare, but just giving a support. Because imagine how many people are out there and they don't have this sort of hospitals in their towns. So it has been a really nice solution that's really working in Brazil, where they, if you live in a small village and you are in your village is connected to the systems, you can get the doctor on the screen and you can send out your exams, and the doctors and machines, they are working together and they are having like faster and better results. And that's where you can actually start your treatment and so on. So it's really cool to see how approaching these cloud technologies, how to approach artificial intelligence is really making a difference in what is happening in the healthcare system. As well as another colleague of mine, another fellow of mine, he has a startup related to artificial intelligence in the Philippines, and they have been doing a lot of work with technology related to what is the COVID-19. And this is sort of new, today. And it's really cool how they are doing a whole like process, in the sense like collect the information from people, collect the information from the government, from the healthcare system, and do some data analysis and try to find, for example, what are the common questions from people related to COVID-19, how to automate and get faster results and treatments for people. Obviously, there are like healthcare qualified people checking all this process, because we know we cannot do everything on machines, on technology. But this is a very, very useful way that people are approaching to help the healthcare system. And they are working as well with Google technologies, with the storage, with the processing, with the flows for artificial intelligence and so on. And they are actually starting, and it's been is so far in the past they have had really good experiences, and it has been working really interesting with another cases. But now is they are starting working with COVID. So if you happen to be a bit more curious about what's happening with the AI powered tools in Philippines, you can check out this information. Is really cool. And talking another big tech company, there is also this Huawei. Most of you have heard about Huawei or use Huawei phones. It's really interesting to see what's the technology they're approaching to help healthcare systems and how they are fighting the COVID-19. It's really cool, and the information is open. I have read about this before. Friends from Philippines told me they are sort of start using that one as well. And basically what they are having here is a sort of a scanners for your lungs and try to see where you may get infected, but not really like a doctor spending hours or with many copies trying to see where you are infected or not, or what pattern you should find to see if you are infected. This is a bit more automatized, and it's really cool to understand that instead of testing 2 or 3 people with the right X to their lungs, you can test like 10 people in a day instead of 3. Because technology is helping doctors, it's not replacing doctors, in the sense of supporting them to find better patterns. If there is something super weird, the doctor goes and double checks and teach the machines to make the better work there. It's super cool. Also, let me go back to Google and talk a bit about Apple. These 2 big companies, they are also supporting one important part of the pandemic, in the sense that trying to trace where you have been and what what people you had nearby you. In the sense of, as I mentioned before, what we know about COVID is very, very contagious, and you can get infected very easily with somebody that was infected, and maybe you don't remember where you got infected, you don't remember what people or friends were nearby you that might be suspicious as well. So there we go. We have technology. This is going to be released, I think, with all these compatibilities in May, but there's still some testings going around, and is using. I try most on Google Technologies, which is I'm a bit more familiar as well. But the interesting thing is using the Bluetooth on your phone and trying to collect for yourself where have you been, and maybe if other people are with the same system, trying to keep a code from these people. So in case imagine you are diagnosed that you are positive and infected, you can instead of like trying to remember where I was, what I was doing, who I was with, you can check your phone and have this sort of tracking. Okay, so Monday I was shopping, so I was sort of hanging out, like having these friends nearby because we were shopping. And Tuesday I just was home, and Wednesday, and so on. So it's really interesting how technology is helping in this sense. I know we can have some drawbacks, as I mentioned before, in the sense of data privacy, in the sense of legal issues, if this will be like share with others or it will keep you tracking somehow. But I think if you are testing, also this technology is really important to communicate to the community how is it working, if it's really working well, what updates you would do to suggest about data privacy and things like that. Just to finish about this part and talking a little bit about data. Well, this was working. This is a Tableau. Tableau is a tool for data visualization. Is really cool when you gather to have a lot of data and you want to establish dashboard and teach about, try to explain stuff with data. And yeah, you can check this tableau.com COVID-19 data hub, which are trying to collect information from around the world. Where are the scenarios with more infected people, and where we have all these, new cases and death reported, and so on. So this one is really cool to see this kind of tracking. And here technology is such a nice help, because imagine we'll be waiting on news or TVs trying to get more information, but we can have it from the whole world. And as well, this one is one of my favorites, which is where it is, the Johns Hopkins University. They have been collecting since day 1 or 0 in the world, and they have been pointing where we have these infected cases. They use technologies called ArcGIS.com, which is very focused on mapping and geolocalization. So it's a good opportunity for learning about geolocalization and mapping as well. There are different tools and technologies helping there, instead of having my map maybe on a paper and try to point where I have everyone. This is just updating daily with information from around the world. So we can see here our country, and some details they are collecting also from their governments, and we see the details about geolocalizations in the US, in Europe, how this has been affecting a lot, and how is this happening. A little bit of math here to see the curve on confirmed, logarithmic, some daily cases that have been rising around the world. Yeah, so my main point here on technology, beyond talking about education and jobs and finances, also trying to see what's happening in the world with at least in the case of big tech companies, how they are trying to help to mitigate this COVID-19, and how we can have this mobility report from around the globe. So how we can see what has been happening and the effects of the confinement and so on. As I mentioned, education. this one, which is really cool, the Cloud Healthcare API, which is also for testing, the tracking and localization, the uh, uh, the way to have easier and faster results for testing, and yeah, also tracking data, because right now data is also way important, because we need to know what's happening, what is happening, and we also need to understand beyond these numbers, just confirm it. We need to know ages, sex, places where they live, if they had some other infection before, or other what's it called, like sort of sickness in the history, diabetes or something, and because that can have like higher risk of getting worse if you are infected. And yeah, also to see like how this virus is affecting more if you live in the highland or nearby the sea, and so. But yeah, so this was mainly the things I wanted to share today with you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Leslie. Leslie, let me just touch on something. I think there are three issues here, and maybe you can address them. The first one I would say is, because we are bombarded with so much information. Social media is just overwhelming many times. So
Mhm.
the thing is here, what we need to have unified information, unification of information, information that is serious, reliable. I think the challenge comes with that. I mean, how do we unify this information and make sure that this is really serious information that is to spread about, and that uh, credibility, information obviously that has credibility,
Mhm.
and then information that is adequately disseminated. And that's also a challenge, especially in a country like Bolivia. You will mention the fact that there are so many limitations. People do not have access to computers and so on. So how do you think we should face those challenges? What are the solutions?
Well, I think it's very interesting to have a bit of I don't know if to say like sort of common sense, in the sense like who is giving you this information and where is it coming from. Sometimes I feel like we are like receiving some information and we just trust it, and maybe this is the forward from the forward of somebody, and we just, oh, this is happening and this is going to happen, and we just trust it, and we are very sensitive to what is really happening. So I think it's very important to see, this is as I mentioned, the Job Hopkins is a very standard university, serious information, and they are trying as well to collect what is like the most verified data. So I think universities web pages, like government web pages, like the World Health Organization web pages, where they are more like serious and accurate, they may help us to have better data. And also, it's very important, at least I have seen in our culture in Bolivia, like to teach other people, like to ask the questions and say, who's giving me this information? Does it make sense with what I have, what I have heard before? Because most of the time is like I don't know, I have seen with my grandparents even, like, oh, somebody said like this is gonna happen or whatever, and I'm like, oh, who said that? Why is that saying? Where is it coming from? So I think when you also share and teach people, like, to be a bit more, filtering where is this information coming from. So I think we can create this better sort of communication. Yeah, because yeah, it's easier to send misinformation to everyone nowadays. It's just forward. But I would really advise to check like very official websites if you are going into internet, and universities, governments, international organizations, they are more reliable for this.
Thank you so much, Leslie. He asked the following question: if some villages do not have doctors, do you think people living there will have internet connection?
Ah, is very hard. Yeah, I mean, small villages, most of them they don't have internet connection. That's our reality, not only in Bolivia, but as mentioned, South America, maybe other countries. And it's really interesting to see how technology can help, even if you don't really have a doctor there or you don't have a good internet connection. So to have a phone, so to have a way to communicate and send information outside the village, I think is a good point. But yeah, I think we have to work a lot in our countries in Latin America for this infrastructure and from this access. But yeah, it will be really nice that they have doctors and internet connection.
Excellent. Leslie, thank you so much. Leslie, we need to, well, there's one more question, and this is
Yeah.
going to be the last question. Comes from Fabricio Arteaga. The question is, every industry will be affected in some way. What's your opinion about how the general population will embrace the technology if we face this new reality like telework, but online, attend virtual classroom? Are we going to adapt as fast as we need to adapt?
Oh, well, interesting question. Actually, I think we are having the opportunity to embrace and trust technology in the sense of online shopping, for example. I have seen a lot in the Bolivian ecosystem that most people don't trust when they buy online because we are not used to and we don't have this, how to say, attitude. We are not used to, to have our cards and put it somewhere because we know there are like bad people out there. They just want to steal, even online. But I consider it's a great opportunity for us to learn about how technology works, to learn about security, like where can I really put my credit card number or my debit card number, because there are many places where you can buy with your debit card. So to learn about security information, to learn about more, common sense, where to buy, where not to buy, to be more disciplined in the sense like I'm doing this tele communication online class and I have to be there and I can be distracted or I have to do my homework. So I think the adaptation will take time, like as anything in the world, like as any new habit. But it requires a lot of our effort as well. As I mentioned, we need to learn about how technology works and to be more open to use it, to be more careful about our personal data, where we are sharing personal data, where we are buying stuff. But I totally believe this is a good opportunity, not only for Bolivia, but also for Latin America to embrace the technology, to go digital, to go on changes, to do things faster, to avoid like getting this contagious with places very, very crowded and just be home or where, I don't know, to be home with a connection or somewhere with internet connections where you can actually do this stuff.
Beautiful. I mean, love your answer. Fantastic answer. Thank you so very much, Leslie. This is it. We're going to have to wrap it up again. I want to really, really thank you. It was wonderful having you twice this week. It's a treat for us. And I want to also thank all of our audience. Please stay with us. We want to also, we are going to be hosting other programs like, this talk shows, talks on different issues. So please remain close to us. We thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Leslie. It was a pleasure having you. And we'll see you very soon, next week, probably. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Learn about technology.